Magandang araw po sa inyo. Welcome po sa isa na namang episode ng online series ni Inang Pamantasan kung saan ang pagkatuto ay walang hangganan. Ito ang PNU Talks. Ako nga pala si Lorenzo M. Caballes Jr. Kasalukuyan po akong nagtatrabaho bilang isang EFL teacher at ASEAN Studies teacher in charge dito sa Phitsanulok, Pittayakom School, dito sa bansang Thailand. I earned my Bachelor of Science in Secondary Education major in English degree at the Philippine Normal University Agusan Campus, now known as PNU Mindanao, in 2004. Ngayong araw, ako ang inyong learning from home buddy. Sa episode na ito, I will be sharing my personal journey in this topic, teaching in the foreign land, challenges and milestones. I-comment ang inyong mga katanungan at mga kuro-kuro sa ating episode today. Huwag kalimutang i-like at i-share ang episode natin. After graduating from PNU Mindanao in 2004, I was fortunate enough to get hired at a private school in Butuan City. I passed the licensure examination that same year, but I chose to stay as a private school teacher. After 6 years of teaching, I decided to move to Thailand to work as an EFL teacher. I officially began my OFW story in 2010. Based on the results of the 2019 survey on overseas Filipinos by the Philippine Statistics Authority, the number of overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, who worked abroad at any time during the period April to September 2019 was estimated at 2.2 million. According to a study conducted by Frederickson in 2014 about Filipino EFL teachers working abroad, higher pay and better working conditions are the reasons why Filipino teachers choose to work in another country. Consistent with that findings, like all other Filipino workers abroad, my main reason for that big move was to find greener pasture. Cliché as it may seem, but I just had to find a way to provide for my aging parents. I just thought that working for 6 years in the Philippines, I was not just able to give them something that could augment their lifestyle. And another reason was to escape from the monotony and loads of work. I came to that point when I wanted a break and I wanted a new working environment. According to statistics, there are at least 15,000 Filipino workers in management, engineering, architecture, business, and teaching in Thailand. This is according to the 2017 record from Thailand's Department of Employment. I am part of the 15,000 who embarked on a teaching profession. Pizzanlok, a province in the lower north of Thailand, has been my home for 11 years. Through the years, I have faced different challenges as a Filipino educator in a foreign land that have impacted me positively and negatively. Moreover, I have also earned small victories that I consider milestones in my OFW story. Today, allow me to share some of those challenges and milestones, and here's hoping that you will be able to learn something if ever some of you are planning to enter into this OFW adventure. However, let me be clear that I am only sharing about my personal journey and I do not in any way generalize the experiences of other Filipino teachers working abroad. An EFL teacher in Thailand would agree if I'd say that one of the first challenges we went through was teaching English to Thai students because many of them were disinterested in learning English. Many students don't find English necessary, and it is never practiced outside the classroom or reinforced at home. So teachers like me need to double our efforts if we want to see results from our students. There was also a case of inequality of salary between native and non-native teachers. In my case, it was a matter of skin color. I had a colleague from Morocco who was paid as a native speaker because he was white. Currently, this issue is still prevalent At ajarn.com, which is a prominent website among foreign job hunters here in Thailand, this is what you will usually see. If you will see the photos at the left side of this slide, you will see the difference. While native speakers are offered 40,000 to 90,000 baht a month, Filipinos get a trifling 20,000 to 25,000 baht starting salary. In fact, there are also schools who offer 18,000 salary for their newly hired Filipino teachers. In any case, qualifications does matter. I am happy to share that I know many Filipino educators in Thailand who are already given the same salary as native speakers because of their qualifications. As for me, I am in my third school since my arrival here, and I am blessed to have found a school where there is no salary distinction among foreign teachers. Then there's homesickness. I am talking about celebrating birthdays away from family, missing special occasions such as Christmas, New Year's Eve, fiestas, and many others. Thailand is a Buddhist country. They do not celebrate Christmas. So if Christmas Day falls on a weekday, then we celebrate Christmas in school, working all day. The three challenges I mentioned are consistent with Frederickson's and Ulya's studies in 2014 and 2018 respectively. Among Frederickson's findings revealed, Filipino teachers' challenges include language barrier, homesickness, and lower salary rates compared to native-speaking teachers. According to Ulya, Filipino teachers in Thailand perceive that English language teaching in the kingdom is challenging because of students' lack of interest in the English language, lack of exposure to and support for an English-speaking environment. But the biggest challenge that I have faced thus far was losing both of my parents while I was here abroad. I lost my father in April 2015 and my mother in March 2018. Those were the most painful experiences I had personally and as an overseas worker. I used to think those TV shows or movies about OFWs going home to a deceased loved one were exaggerated and overly dramatized. I was wrong. I experienced it not just once but twice, and the pain was no lesser than the other. In fact, the second loss was even excruciating, knowing that the reasons why I had to work abroad are now gone. In those two instances, the travel coming home was the longest. OFWs are usually excited when the plane touches down Naiya, but during those two instances, I wasn't. The closer I got home, the heavier my heart grew. It was that experience that I would never wish any overseas worker like me would go through. Despite the challenges, we Filipino workers are always resilient. We always find a way to augment our situation no matter what the circumstances are. I consider the following as the significant milestones throughout my 11 years here in Thailand. In my third year here in Thailand, I was elected president of the St. Nicholas Church Foreign Community. The most significant project that the organization did was the fundraising campaign to help the victims of Typhoon Haiyan when it hit and devastated Leyte in November 2013. What started with a simple post on the FB walls of VS and CFC officers and members had gained an overwhelming response from our colleagues and students. After a month, we raised a total amount of 244,679 baht, or roughly around 318,082.70 pesos at an exchange rate of 1.30. The amount we raised were distributed to the members of our community whose families were directly affected by the typhoon, and to an NGO based in Cebu, and also to ABS-CBN Sagip Kapamilya and GMA Kapuso Foundation. In 2015, I was elected president of the Filipino Council of Pizzanlok, the organization of the Filipinos here in Thailand. This is also an organization recognized by the Philippine Embassy in Bangkok. Within 2 years, the organization had initiated different activities to unify Filipinos in this part of Thailand. More importantly, we organized events just to feel at home while we are away from home. One of our activities was the Second Pinoy Leaders Congress, where we partnered with Narissawan University, one of Pizzanlok's premier universities. The said Congress was participated by Filipinos from the various parts of Thailand. The main thrust of that said Congress was to provide an avenue for Filipino community leaders in Thailand to exchange ideas and experiences on various matters affecting Filipino workers. It also aimed to establish more robust networks among Pinoy community leaders and upgrade their English language teaching knowledge and skills. Another significant project we conducted was the English Language Proficiency Seminar for Filipino teachers in Pizzanlok. This time, we partnered with Pibol Songkram Rajabat University, one of Phitsanulok's most prominent universities. We conducted these events to address the lack of professional development among Filipino teachers. Respondents to OLIA's study in 2018 expressed a need for a professional development program. They stated that they required assistance from their school principals to improve their teaching abilities and deal with pupils who are learning English as a second language. In September 2016, the Filipino community here in Phitsanulok raised the Philippine flag during the Narissawan University ASEAN Expo. We performed Filipino traditional dances and sang original Pinoy songs. Our 30-minute repertoire was one of the most applauded among other ASEAN performers. Other significant activities we spearheaded include Palarong Pilok Pinoy, the Independence Day celebration where we also crowned our very first and the only Lakambini so far. We also organized the Ecumenical Night of Prayer for peaceful and honest elections for the 2016 presidential elections. To sum up our 2-year term, we published the Legacy magazine. I must say that our term was a huge success, and I am proud to say that I was with 3 other PNU Mindanao graduates in the Pilok Pinoy's Council, Mr. Hinugin, Ms. Kanua Sinugin, and Ms. Intana. Ika nga, iba talaga pag produkto ng PNU. In October 2017, I was part of the organizing committee of the Third Filipino Leaders Congress. The event was graced by Department of Labor and Employment Secretary Honorable Silvestre H. Bello III and Overseas Workers Welfare Administration Administrator Hans Leo Kakdak. It was one of the most significant events pulled by the Filipino community leaders of the different provinces of Thailand. There were at least 400 to 500 Filipinos who participated in that Congress. As EFL teachers, we are involved in training students for extracurricular activities. One of the most anticipated annual events is the Exhibition of Talents in Arts and Crafts, Academics and Technology, organized by Thailand's Office of the Basic Education Commission. In the 2017 national competitions, my team of senior high school students won second runner-up in the English short drama competition after winning championship titles both in the provincial and regional levels. It was my second taste of national victory after a junior high school student in my previous school won second runner-up in storytelling in that same competition. The following year, my senior high school students finally clinched the championship title in the National English Short Drama Competition. Another student I trained won a gold medal for winning first runner-up in the storytelling contest. And then the next year, in the 2019 national competitions, my team remained champion in the English Short Drama Competition, while my storytelling contestant was also declared the winner. The English program schools, or schools that offer special English language programs, annually meet for academic and art competitions. At least 20 schools compete in the regional round in each category of this contest. From 2014 until 2019, my skit team constantly romps away the championship trophy except in 2016. On the other hand, my storytelling contestants have maintained the top 5 spots, if not the winning spot, since 2015. 2 years ago, at the very first ever National EP Open House held in September 2019 in Bangkok, my storytellers for both junior and senior high schools emerged champion and first runner-up respectively, besting other students from all over Thailand. With those humble achievements, I want to pay tribute to Inang Pamantasang PNU Mindanao. I owe my theater arts and stage performance background to my alma mater through my awe-inspiring advisor of Dasang Pasundayag troupe, Dr. Evelyn R. Nada. Her lesson about locus and focus always guide me every time I train my students for drama competitions. Let me also mention my 2 trainers in Kaliagan Dance Troupe, Dr. Idalberta Gosse and Dr. Maria Shalu Galay, who have helped hone my dancing skills while I was under their tutelage. It is not a secret that financial struggle among OFWs like me is real. According to a study conducted by Film Life in 2015, 8 out of 10 OFWs are not yet ready to return to the Philippines permanently. Only 18% of the respondents said they were prepared to come home when the study was conducted. The remaining 82% said they were not ready to go home because they didn't have enough savings and their kids were still studying. Mr. Jun Amparo, financial blogger and author based in Thailand, said that poor decisions of OFWs lead to financial mistakes. These mistakes are the reason why most of us OFWs fail to save. Personally, it takes a lot of discipline to be able to put our hard-earned money into the right channel. Aside from our regular monthly allotment to our families back home, we have our monthly bills to pay: house rent, water, electricity, food, clothing, and other things such as gadgets and travel expenses. Our salary in Thailand is much lower compared to other countries, but I am glad to say that I was able to set aside part of my salary for some investments. My first investment was a 200 square meter lot in Balamban, Cebu, which is known to be the shipbuilding capital of the Philippines. In my hometown in Mindanao, I also bought a small lot that my mother used to farm falcata trees before she passed away. Recently, I acquired another residential lot where I plan to build a small apartment for rent soon. Currently, I am paying one more residential lot to where I am hoping to develop my future dream house. In 2015, I invested in a pre-selling condominium unit at SMDC Shore Residences in Mall of Asia area. It was turned over last 2019 and it is now being rented at a fair price enough to cover its monthly bank amortization. Currently, I am paying 2 more condo units located in Naiya, in Pasay, and 1 more unit in Davao. I am also grateful that just before my father passed away in 2015, he experienced living in his fully furnished house. In 2017, my mother traveled here to Thailand and celebrated her 75th birthday with me. It was her first plane ride experience, first travel abroad, and first grand birthday celebration, which was held in an expensive hotel. A year after my mother's vacation to Thailand, she succumbed to cardiac arrest just 6 days after her 76th birthday. At that point, I was overwhelmed with so much grief that I needed a distraction, and I thought taking postgraduate studies would be a great idea. Fortunately, I got admitted to the Diploma in Language and Literacy Education or DLLE program at the University of the Philippines, Open University or UPOU. It would have been what my mother wanted me to do. Last December 2020, I was part of the historic first virtual Sablay ceremony of the UPOU, and I am currently pursuing my Master of Arts in Language and Literacy Education after passing the qualifying exam last year. It is still a long way before I could wear that MALLE supply, but I claim that I can do it with God, who gives me strength and wisdom. I believe it is not yet too late to pursue higher studies despite my age, the loads of work and responsibilities at work. As educators, the pursuit of excellence and the hunger to learn should never stop. After all, excellence is what Inang Pamantasan PNU Mindanao has inculcated in us, her children. Yes, there are sacrifices along the way. I had to balance both teacher and student workloads to succeed in both. It takes a great deal of resilience, persistence, patience, and a positive mindset. In all of these, my gratitude goes out to Dr. Adeline Costello Abria, my former advisor at PNU Mindanao, for her constant push and encouragement even long after I ventured outside the portals of PNU Mindanao. Sabi nga nila, life abroad is not for the faint-hearted. One needs an ample amount of strength to hurdle life's challenges alone and far away from family. My life teaching in the foreign land is full of bumps and humps, but through it all, I believe that God is always with me, as He has promised to be my refuge and my strength, a very present help in times of trouble. Sa muli, ako si Lorenzo M. Caballes Jr. at sumainyo ang PNU Talks. Sawadee ka.